The blinding glare of production lights, the deafening roar of tens of thousands of screaming fans packed into a sold-out arena, and the relentless, unforgiving scrutiny of millions of high-definition cameras, capturing every single angle from every imaginable perspective, can create an environment where even the most formidable individuals face an entirely different kind of battle. For decades, the global entertainment landscape has been dominated by larger-than-life figures who appear almost mythological in their physical prowess, resilience, and seemingly untouchable confidence. We see them conquering massive opponents in the squared circle, performing unbelievable stunts on the silver screen, and walking down red carpets with an aura of absolute invincibility that makes them seem entirely immune to the vulnerabilities that affect ordinary human beings. The public often forgets that beneath the layers of carefully crafted showmanship, theatrical bravado, and massive physical strength, these cultural icons remain deeply human, susceptible to the exact same insecurities, aging processes, and emotional challenges that everyone else faces in their day-to-day lives. In the modern era of hyperconnectivity, where social media platforms amplify every whisper into a deafening chorus, the boundary between harmless public spectatorship and deeply personal scrutiny has completely dissolved, transforming the audience from mere observers into a powerful force capable of influencing the real-life choices of the world's biggest stars. Before we dive deeper into this fascinating intersection of celebrity culture, public pressure, and personal transformation, take a quick moment to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an inside look at the stories shaping the entertainment world today. The journey of maintaining a pristine public image while navigating the natural progression of time is a complex tightrope walk that very few individuals ever have to experience under the harsh glare of a global spotlight. When a person builds an entire career on a foundation of peak physical perfection, any slight deviation from that expected standard becomes an instant focal point for millions of spectators worldwide, who often use the anonymity of the internet to dissect, critique, and sometimes relentlessly mock things that are entirely beyond an individual's control. We have witnessed countless athletes and actors go to extraordinary lengths to preserve their youth, spending fortunes on specialized regimens, secret treatments, and private consultations just to keep the inevitable march of time at bay for a few more years. Yet, there is a fascinating shift happening in the cultural zeitgeist where some of the most recognizable faces on the planet are choosing to pull back the curtain on these deeply personal struggles, shedding light on the immense pressure to conform to unrealistic societal standards of perpetual youth. This unfolding narrative is not merely about a physical transformation or a routine cosmetic procedure, but rather a compelling case study in how intense public commentary can push a global icon to take radical action in an effort to reclaim control over their own narrative. As we begin to explore the atmospheric buildup to this modern saga, we have to look back at the origins of a career built on absolute dominance, where a man became a household name by projecting an image of an unstoppable force who could never be broken by any opponent. For nearly a quarter of a century, this specific individual came to symbolize the absolute pinnacle of competitive drive, capturing numerous world championships, headlining the biggest live events in history, and transitioning seamlessly into a highly successful Hollywood career that cemented his status as a mainstream powerhouse. To the average viewer, his life appeared to be a flawless sequence of monumental achievements, blockbusting movie roles, and an unwavering connection with an adoring fan base that stretched across multiple generations. However, behind the scenes, a subtle and completely natural biological change was beginning to manifest, creating an unexpected vulnerability that the watchful eyes of the public would soon seize upon with an intensity that surprised even the veteran performer himself. The early signs of this change were initially minor, easily concealed by clever camera angles, strategic styling, and the fast-paced nature of live television production where movement and energy can mask small details. But as technology advanced into the era of ultra-high-definition broadcasting, where every single strand of hair and every minor skin blemish is magnified for the world to see, hiding the natural progression of male pattern baldness became an increasingly difficult task for someone constantly in the center of the frame. What began as a few quiet observations among specialized online communities quickly snowballed into a massive, widespread talking point that threatened to overshadow the actual work, dedication, and artistic output of a man who had given his entire life to entertaining the masses. The transition from a celebrated hero who could do no wrong to the target of widespread, highly personalized ridicule represents a jarring shift that highlights the fickle nature of modern fandom, where a lifetime of legendary achievements can suddenly be eclipsed by a completely normal genetic trait. This atmospheric tension grew quietly for months, creating a palpable contrast between the massive success of his professional endeavors and the mounting wave of personal critique that was building across various digital platforms and live arenas. Every appearance on a major talk show, every promotional interview for a highly anticipated film, and every surprise return to the wrestling ring became an opportunity for critics and trolls to redirect the conversation away from his immense talent and toward the changing state of his hair. The psychological weight of this constant, unyielding attention is something that few can truly comprehend, as it forces an individual to constantly confront an aspect of themselves that society has deemed a flaw. Despite it being a completely natural component of the human aging process, this sets the stage for a dramatic turning point, where the pressure cooker of public opinion finally reaches a threshold that demands a definitive response, leading our protagonist down a path of medical intervention that he would ultimately choose to share openly with the world rather than hiding it in the shadows. As we prepare to look at the specific catalysts that sparked this intense journey, it becomes clear that the story is far more than a simple chronicle of a celebrity undergoing a medical procedure. It is a profound reflection on the power of words, the impact of collective digital behavior, and the lengths to which a modern icon will go to protect their legacy and self-image in an era where privacy is a luxury of the past. The turning point arrived when the subtle whispers on the internet transformed into an inescapable reality inside the very arenas that had once been the arena of his greatest triumphs. For a man who had spent decades commanding the respect of millions, the shift was both sudden and deeply jarring, as wrestling fans began holding up cruel, highly visible signs specifically mocking his growing bald patch during live television broadcasts. John Cena, a 17-time world champion and a living legend of the squared circle, found himself facing an entirely new kind of opponent that could not be subdued with physical strength or a mic performance. Speaking openly about the painful ordeal, the 49-year-old actor and athlete admitted that he had desperately tried to hide his thinning hair from the public, meticulously styling it and using various tricks to conceal the natural progression of time, only to find himself subjected to an escalating wave of ridicule. The breakthrough moment of raw vulnerability came during an interview on The Pat McAfee Show, where the global icon refused to hide behind standard public relations talking points, and instead chose to address the behavior of the crowd with absolute candor, directly comparing the experience to straight-up bullying. He described the emotional toll of hearing thousands of people chanting about his appearance, explaining how it was designed to make him feel small, embarrass him on a global stage, and attack his confidence in a way that most ordinary people would find completely unbearable. Cena noted that the fans had no idea what it truly felt like to be on the receiving end of such a concentrated, unyielding wave of negativity over a genetic condition that he had absolutely no power to control. Rather than allowing the negativity to break his spirit or retreating into isolation, the veteran performer made the definitive decision to take matters into his own hands, acknowledging that the relentless public pressure had ultimately pushed him into seeking surgical hair replacement. This marked the beginning of a highly calculated, multi-stage medical journey that would see the global superstar completely overhaul his approach to long-term hair health under the care of specialized medical professionals. In November of 2024, Cena quietly underwent his very first follicular unit extraction procedure, commonly known as an FUE transplant, which is a highly sophisticated technique where individual hair follicles are meticulously harvested from a donor area and transplanted into the thinning sections of the scalp. The initial procedure required an immense amount of patience and dedication, as the natural growth cycle of transplanted hair takes many months to show noticeable results, forcing the high-profile actor to navigate major Hollywood promotional tours while his scalp was still in the delicate phases of healing. Throughout this challenging period, Cena continued to balance an incredibly demanding professional schedule, proving that his work ethic remained completely unbothered by the personal trials he was facing behind closed doors. His resilience paid off in a massive way on the professional front, as evidenced by his recent starring role in the comedy film Little Brother alongside the incredibly eccentric and talented comedian Eric Andre. The movie quickly captured the attention of audiences worldwide, skyrocketing to become the #1 film on Netflix globally, and proving that Cena's star power and comedic timing were as potent as ever. Regardless of the online chatter surrounding his physical appearance, the plot of the hit comedy, which follows a highly successful real estate agent whose seemingly perfect and meticulously organized life is completely disrupted when a wild, unpredictable friend from his past suddenly reappears, mirrors the chaotic nature of Cena's own real-life experience of having his pristine public image disrupted by an unpredictable wave of public scrutiny. The massive success of the film served as a powerful reminder that while the internet might obsess over minor physical details, the broader global audience remained deeply invested in his talent, his charisma, and his ability to entertain across different mediums. This professional triumph set the stage for the next critical phase of his personal transformation, which required a level of commitment that went far beyond the initial treatment. Just this week, the 49-year-old megastar decided to go all in for the best possible long-term results, taking the radical step of completely shaving his head to prepare for the second round of his intense follicular unit extraction surgery. Shaving the head is a necessary and highly strategic move in advanced view procedures, as it allows the surgical team to have maximum visibility and precision when harvesting and placing thousands of individual grafts across the scalp to achieve optimal density and a completely natural-looking hairline. Cena chose to share this milestone directly with his millions of followers on social media, posting a striking photograph of his freshly bald head while standing proudly alongside Dr. Ken Anderson, the founder and chief surgeon at the renowned Anderson Center for Hair. In the caption of the widely shared image, the legendary entertainer expressed his deep gratitude to Dr. Anderson and the entire medical staff for accompanying him on what he explicitly described as a deeply personal journey toward reclaiming his confidence and hair health. Anderson was quick to respond to the public post, offering warm words of mutual respect and praise for the superstar's exceptional commitment to the rigorous, multi-step medical process. The specialist highlighted that Cena's long-term vision, discipline, and willingness to trust the expertise of the medical team had made all the difference in achieving the best possible outcome for his hair restoration. This public exchange between a global icon and his surgeon effectively shattered the long-standing stigma surrounding male cosmetic procedures, turning a topic that was once spoken about only in hushed whispers into a transparent, celebrated narrative of self-care and personal empowerment. The sight of the famously clean-cut, thick-haired champion completely bald sent shockwaves through the entertainment and sports worlds alike, signaling that the second phase of this intense battle was officially underway with high stakes and maximum determination. By choosing to document the reality of the surgical process rather than wearing a hairpiece or using digital editing to hide the truth, Cena effectively flipped the script on his detractors, transforming what was once a source of intense public embarrassment into a powerful statement of resilience and absolute control over his own body and public identity. The bold decision to step forward into the spotlight with a completely shaved head and an open message about his second hair transplant operation represents far more than a simple cosmetic choice for a Hollywood celebrity. It marks the ultimate climax of a deeply personal journey of resilience, self-acceptance, and strategic reinvention for John Cena, a man who has spent his entire adult life being analyzed by millions under the most intense public scrutiny imaginable. By fully embracing the multi-stage follicular unit extraction process and documenting it transparently, the veteran entertainer has effectively reclaimed his own narrative, turning a vulnerability that online trolls used as a weapon into a message of empowerment that resonates with millions of people worldwide who suffer from identical hereditary conditions. Hair loss is a completely natural genetic reality that affects an overwhelming majority of men globally. Yet society frequently maintains an unrealistic double standard that demands public figures remain completely untouched by the natural progression of aging. Cena's willingness to stand shoulder to shoulder with his medical specialist, Dr. Ken Anderson, while completely bald, has shattered those outdated stigmas, proving that taking control of one's physical health, confidence, and long-term well-being is a sign of true strength, rather than something to be hidden away in the shadows of shame. This personal evolution aligns perfectly with a monumental period of transition across every single aspect of his historic professional career. As the legendary icon recently made the emotional decision to officially retire from full-time professional wrestling, His final match inside the squared circle against the devastating powerhouse Gunther at WWE's Saturday night's main event marked the definitive conclusion of an unrepeatable in-ring career that spanned over 2 decades, leaving an indelible legacy that transformed the global sports entertainment landscape forever. Although his days of delivering thunderous technical maneuvers and absorbing massive physical punishment inside the ring are officially behind him, his deep-rooted connection to the wrestling world remains incredibly active, as he continues to collaborate closely with the organization in a highly influential hosting capacity. This ongoing relationship ensures that his immense experience, magnetic charisma, and unparalleled connection with multiple generations of fans will continue to shape the future of the industry for many years to come. However, the multi-talented global superstar has also dropped fascinating hints that the door to his athletic journey might not be completely welded shut forever. Admitting in a recent candid conversation with Us Weekly that he strongly dislikes speaking in absolute certainties because the word never carries an incredibly heavy weight in the unpredictable world of entertainment. He openly confessed that it would require an astronomical, unprecedented financial commitment for someone to court him back into a position where he would lace up his boots for another match, humorously noting that if a promoter is actively in the business of torching currency, that would be the absolute only realistic path to getting him back inside the ring. This candid admission perfectly encapsulates the sharp business intellect and grounded perspective that have allowed him to successfully navigate the cutthroat waters of the entertainment industry for 25 years without losing his core identity. Beyond the wrestling rings that initially brought him worldwide fame, Cena's trajectory in Hollywood is currently experiencing an unprecedented surge in momentum. With an incredibly diverse lineup of high-profile cinematic projects currently moving rapidly through the production pipeline, audiences around the world are eagerly anticipating his upcoming appearances in highly unique projects like the live-action hybrid feature Coyote vs. Acme, the high-octane cinematic adaptation of Matchbox, the movie, and the intensely gripping thriller titled One Attempt Remaining, each of which showcases his incredible artistic versatility and willingness to push himself into entirely new creative territories. His journey from a young, aspiring bodybuilder in Massachusetts to an internationally acclaimed movie star and cultural icon stands as a powerful testament to the value of unrelenting hard work, ironclad discipline, and an uncanny ability to adapt to changing circumstances. By addressing his hair restoration journey with the exact same work ethic, precision, and long-term vision that defined his legendary athletic career, he has shown his fans that true confidence comes from facing your vulnerabilities head-on and taking definitive action to address them. The modern world is filled with digital critics who use the anonymity of the internet to tear down the achievements of others. But heroes like John Cena prove that the final word always belongs to those who possess the courage to control their own destiny. As his new hair begins its natural growth cycle over the coming months under the specialized care of the Anderson Center for Hair, the world will undoubtedly watch his ongoing physical and creative transformation with immense admiration and respect. This inspiring saga serves as a timeless reminder that no matter how massive the public pressure or how intense the collective criticism becomes, an individual always retains the ultimate power to reshape their reality, rebuild their confidence, and forge ahead into the future on their own terms.